Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
We've got a kind of a new layout here, as y'all see, but we also have we're pre-recorded this week,
Yep.
which is why we're kind of just jumping right into it.
Yeah.
Because I am actually at a con by the time this episode is
Yep.
coming out. Like by the time y'all are watching, I'm not in the studio. I'm at a convention.
hmm I'll probably be either asleep or at work.
So we're not actually here.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
yeah. Um, But yeah, I got a new layout for us here, so they can find our things like we usually talk about all the time. Now they're all there, and it shows like when people on the when we are live, they can see when we get new Twitch followers and stuff.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so we're gonna kind of skip our usual what have we been up to this week because it's a surprise episode. We were originally only gonna talk about the Lego special, but then I messaged him and was like, hey, well actually I talked about it beforehand, but I was like, do we want to start catching up on some of these comics because we're kind of behind on them?
Yeah.
Not in the sense of like we're not behind in the trade paperbacks, but a lot has happened in the comic world for Star Wars.
hmm
The mainline run is for Star Wars is over. As well as a few other ones that we did miss the trade paperback to talk about. Like they came out and I was like, oh, we should have talked about that this week, but we didn't. Um, so I was like, here's a bunch of ones that we can talk about.
Yep.
And then I was like, we'll do the Lego thing for sure. That's definitely on the schedule. But then whatever you happen to read as well. And then we'll talk about those as well. So this will
Yep.
be, I guess we'll do our news and then we'll start with those and then we'll get to our main topic. And we'll just call this segment Comic Book Catch Up.
Mm.
I
have no issues with that. That's pretty on the nose for what.
Yeah, because we'll probably do it next week as well if we
Yeah.
if we get the space. I think this will be a common concept for us because I promised this man that I would keep season 3 to only 50 episodes for our podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep that promise.
You sent me like 5 comic runs, and you were like, "Just get what you can done," and I was like, "But what if I read them all though?"
And then you didn't.
And then I didn't because I was like, no. I was like, I'll do the Lego special first.
Yeah, because that's
it
the
was
necessary
that's
part. Yeah.
And then it took me a while to get to that.
Yeah, because of errors.
Yeah. I did get to it though.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm fixing. You keep going. Oh. No, we're good.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep talking, I
Yeah.
guess.
There we go.
I got through 2 of the comics out of the 5 that you sent me? Or is it 6?
I think it was, let's see, those two, 6.
6, okay.
Because it was the 2 that you read, the one you started to read, 2 of that specific one, and then 1 from the other one.
Yeah.
Which now, this week, we can add the other part of that for that one.
I guess
you know what? I don't have to be vague. You read You read Jango, Fett, and Darth Maul, Black, White, and Red, and then you started to read High Republic, Phase 3, Volume 2.
Yeah.
And then
And I didn't.
and then you didn't get to read Star Wars Volumes 8 and 9 or 9 and 10. Is it 8 and 9? Yeah, 8 and 9, because it ends on Volume 9, I think, right?
I think so.
And then I sent Vader Volume 9 as well. And then now we'll get to add Vader Volume 10, because that is now done as well. Vader is now done as of this week as well. So I'll get to add that to the list for our comic catch-up. But we'll just make that like a secondary thing with it for the rest of the season, just so we can... unless I happen to make a comic part of the main topics. And for now, we'll just make it like a secondary thing where we're catching up while we're doing the main topics. Just because they're coming out so fast. They're coming out so fast. Technically, your favorite character for High Republic's comic should have been done as well by now for their run, but the 4th issue didn't come out this week. It was originally supposed to. but now it's coming out next month.
It'll come out when it comes out.
Yeah, we'll get Ty eventually. More Ty York eventually.
Fuck is Ty York?
What the fuck? You mean what the fuck is Ty York up to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you just ended it with what the fuck is Ty York? Who the fuck is Ty York? Why the fuck is Ty York?
Where is she?
I was doing the Guardians of the Galaxy though. How the fuck is Ty York?
That's another question. How's she doing? She doing good?
Oh,
My favorite not Jedi.
your favorite Witcher version of a Jedi? Except instead of Dandelion, slash I forget the other name.
Yes, Gear. That's from the television show.
It's Yeskier?
Yeah.
Man, it's been a minute since I watched the show version. But anyways, Dandelion. Instead of Dandelion, Ty gets an apprentice.
Yep.
Which I guess technically Geralt in the video games eventually gets an apprentice via, you know, because she eventually. But in the books, I don't think she. I think they hint at it in the books, but they never go, hey, let's start actually having you go through the process. I can't remember. Anyways, that's way off subject.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some news.
Yeah.
Because we don't really feel like talking about what we're up to this week. I'm just a smidge tired. I had to sleep in the heat last night because we had some power issues at the house, but now we're good. So sleeping with the fans was not enough. Like it was still, and so I slept fine. But now that I'm up, it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's kind of the bare minimum of what I'll say I've been up to this week.
I got sort of speed run that what I did this week. 1, Night City, no more crime.
Oh, okay, for your Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
And what about 2020?
2020.
Speedrun edition.
So the party has experienced their first betrayal. Steve's character got killed.
Interesting.
So they're happy that the story took that turn, but they're also mad at the character. I was like, on the one hand, he told you guys exactly what would happen if you went through with this kind of thinking, or all you guys have done. Him being offered 5 million eddies to just bring the kid back. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. We played 2 Ravenloft games this week, actually.
Yeah.
One of them, somebody died.
Yeah.
So to bounce off of your Steve dying one, somebody died in the first game for the Ravenloft game. I'm not going to say who. Y'all can go watch on the Patreon.
I was able to catch a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think you caught that session, and then it was the next session that you only caught like some of, I think. And so, because you only caught like the first few minutes, and then you had power stuff, I think, is what.
Me and Andrew had to go.
Or internet stuff, yeah.
We had to go get our power bill sorted out.
Yeah, you had internet and stuff to deal with, yeah. So anyways, yeah. So you didn't catch the second half of that, but we told you, Brett and I told you later, and you were like, oh shit.
I think one of the things that I think a lot of D&D parties in general don't learn until someone actually points this out is, hey, you know what's a useful spell and a good idea to do? Alarm is a useful spell. And 2, set a watch if you're not sleeping in a town.
Yeah, alarm probably would have helped with what happened in that first Ravenloft session. Once again, I'm being vague, so that way y'all watch it, because y'all get 2 episodes of Ravenloft now.
I won't give any further details on my... But it's, like, the first time you learn that as a D&D player, it's always a good thing to remember.
But also, they don't have any... Is that specifically a wizard spell? Or...
It's a ranger spell.
It's a ranger spell. Oh. That is ironic.
It makes this fucking hilarious.
But yeah. So, anyways... Yeah, that's us giving a little bit of plug and also giving the quickest version of what have we been up to this
and
week.
then I hung out with you and Britt.
Yeah,
And
we watched some My Little Pony. Yeah,
Yeah.
which that was a good time. Even with my power going out and then me going onto my phone, we still watched a good chunk. We're now 2/3 through the first season.
Celestia is continuing to be to fuck with people.
Yeah, she is a manipulator and a, to say the least, and
Gonna go live.
a tyrant. I will absolutely slander Princess Celestia. I mean, Tyrant Queen Celestia, who banishes those that she doesn't like into the forest or to the moon if they're her sister. And in the case of her sister, for what it was how many years? It was like
1,000.
1,000. It was 1,000 years. Okay, I was gonna say 1,000, but I thought that was too big. Okay, it was 1,000 years. Yes. So.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I forgive you, and we don't ever really learn the truth of why. Like, we just get the Celestia point of view of why she was kicked off, and I'm like, I think the opposite happened. I think Celestia was the one that got uppity about some stuff, and then kicked her sister to the moon before her sister could fight off this tyrant.
And then I played some First Descendant with Chris and Steve.
Fun. All right, well, do you want to?
That brings us to here.
Yeah, you want to get into the news then for this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a couple things. So, High Republic, you know, I said we wouldn't talk about it, but let's talk about it. Jedi Survivor is officially out on PS4 and Xbox now.
It's good for me, I guess.
Yeah. Also, it came with a new update for PC, which was good for Matt, because I think Matt was playing it on PC and was having troubles with that. So, hopefully, some quality of life stuff makes it to where it runs better. I guess we'll find out. We also got some word from an investors meeting that Respawn and EA had, where it basically confirms that the next Jedi game is going to be the last in the trilogy, and that pretty much is going to conclude the story of Cal Kestis.
Yeah.
Or at least
good solid number of good games to have.
Yeah, it's a good I'd say the exception to that is I think Uncharted 4 is really good. I think them doing a fourth one wasn't a bad case in Uncharted's scenario. Because I'd say Uncharted kind of just got better and better with each one.
Yeah, it usually doesn't happen that way.
No, usually 3 is where you want to go off on, and then, I mean, let's just look at Halo. Well, actually, no, I'd say the fourth Halo, because Halo Reach is technically the fourth Halo game.
Yeah.
So Halo Reach actually really, really good, and probably the only good 343 one if we're gonna nitpick a little.
Neat. You can keep that statement. I'm gonna go over here.
What you? I think that's a popular opinion. I don't know how many people like the other 343 Halo games.
Yeah, but I'm not getting into a fight with Halo fans.
From what I understand, they don't like 4 or 5 or Infinite.
Me and Andrew played 4 a lot, which is a very weird game. Like, the gameplay for 4 is good, but the story is very...
Yeah.
Not confusing, it's just kind of sad and depressing.
Because that's the one where Cortana's going evil, right?
Yeah,
and then
her files are being corrupted and she's tweaking.
And then 5 is when he's on the run from Nathan Fillion. And you get to play as Nathan Fillion for a little bit, despite them advertising so hard that you get to play as him. Because 4, he's in 4 as well, right?
If he is, it's only as like a voice thing.
Because he's the one that's like... I think he's chasing you even in 4 because of the Cortana stuff, or is it just in 5?
It's just in 5.
Okay.
I don't know what happens in 5.
Yeah. So basically, the UNSC go after him because of what happens at the end of 4, right? Because at the end of 4, he becomes a fugitive essentially because he picks Cortana's side, which is the wrong decision, as it turns out.
Whoops.
And then Infinite, I think he has a new one. He has a new AI. And so... But Infinite story is not important because most people play the Infinite for the multiplayer. Because the multiplayer I heard for Infinite's good. It's the story that kind of...
one of these days, I'm just going to go and read through,
Like, just read the lore.
read
up.
all of it from start to finish.
I learned Austin Mouser in our acquisitions game, speaking of lore, knows a lot more about Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 lore than I thought. Because we were just... so, after Ravenloft game, we were playing... I was going through the 2024 book for D&D because the new Player's Handbook came out, and I have a copy, and so I'm helping my players decide whether or not they want to adjust their characters into the new 2024 stuff, or if they want to stay with the 2014 stuff. It sounds like, at least for Ranger, you want to stick to 2014, it sounds like, from what we were talking about, just because you like your stuff, but I don't know if human you would want to change or not.
I'm fine with the human that I am.
Okay. But, yeah, because I'm basically going, if you pick the class thing, that's just the class thing. You don't have to overhaul your entire character. But if you want the species things, then you want the species things. I'm basically doing what they said we should be able to do in 2024, which is kind of piecemeal it, right? And so far it's working, because Ravenloft, we've got 2 out of the 3 are using the 2024 rule set now.
Yeah. You can ask the others.
Yeah, I'm basically gonna... Yeah, I'll have that conversation when we play Grim Hollow next.
So later tonight.
Later tonight, as of when we're recording. Last night, for those of you watching the episode.
In the future, when this thing actually airs.
Yeah, that's why I was being vague at first.
Because of how time works.
We're not Time Lords, you mean?
No, we're not.
Oh.
I don't think I would want to be. It's like being an immortal in Highlander. You're fucked.
At the very least, you're very depressed all the time because of what happens to Gallifrey. At least it's not our fault, though.
Oh, boy.
It's just the Doctor's fault.
Yeah.
I feel like that's old enough to be able to talk about that.
When you, the audience, gets this in the future, from us, who is in the past, which is currently the present, don't worry about it.
That was some red versus blue levels of explaining time travel. Anyways.
It's not inaccurate, though.
No. But, so anyways, what was I saying? Austin knows things about Baldur's Gate, because we were sitting there looking at Ranger for him. I think he likes the beast stuff. Like, there's certain things he likes about the new beast stuff, and then stuff he doesn't like. And he's like, as a player, I really like what they did for the beast stuff, because now your beast acts almost like a summon.
Okay.
Except it still can die.
Yeah.
But you can now do a one-touch heal. Get up. And the other thing is, they now can increase their AC and health, and it's attached to your stuff. It's attached to your character stuff as well. So that way, there's a reason for why it's able to elevate, right? Rather than pick a creature and that's the stats you get.
Yep.
They give you 3 types of creatures. They've got a Beast of Land, Beast of Sky, Beast of Sea. So based on what type of creature you're spawning in, you get the stats for that.
Ironically, the only types of rangers that I've not played are the ones that involve like creatures and animals.
So Beastmaster.
So Beastmaster, Swarmkeeper, and Drake Warden.
Okay.
That's mostly because I'm like, well, they're my friend. I don't want them to get hurt, so I shouldn't bring them with me to a fight.
But yeah, but Austin was like,
unlike one of our wizard friends.
Yeah, but Austin was like, I like that feature.
But mechanically, that's a much better way of doing it.
He's like, mechanically, that's a cool feature, but as a character, for my character, I don't want that, actually. And he was like, because I want to feel emotionally attached to the idea that Panther is more likely to die versus giving him better health and AC all the time. Because it's like, sure, that increases his chances of living, but he can still die. But leaving him at the health that he has, which is, I think, at max 30-something is what Panther has.
Probably, yeah.
He's like, that increases the chance of him dying, but also makes me, as a player, have to roleplay harder about how I care about my beast. And so I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, so we were talking about that, and then we talked about the fact that he knows who Saravok is deeply beyond just Baldur's Gate 3 stuff. because he was like, "Oh, I watched this one YouTuber. I forget what he said. I've seen the videos before. The Villainpedia guy, and he was like, yeah, he did one on Saravok, and I'd seen the Saravok one before. And he was like, but I also seen the John Irenicus one. I was like, there's a John Irenicus one, which is the villain from Baldur's Gate 2. And so yeah, so we talked a little bit about lore there because I was like, oh, okay, so because we were talking about the idea that I've always wanted to play Baldur's Gate 1 completely with friends,
Yeah.
as well as Baldur's Gate 2 completely with friends, but I've yet to do it.
We'll work on that.
Especially now that everybody's getting into the Baldur's Gate lore with Baldur's Gate 3, the gameplay is different, and so I always make that clear to my friends that it's a different style game than Baldur's Gate 3.
Sometimes you get shot by 7 goblins in a hallway.
And surprisingly, it's not the glass cannon that's getting hit by them. It's our supposed fighter. Or ranger. No, you're a fighter, yeah.
Fighter.
It's our supposed tank that's going...
supposed.
Yeah, it's our supposed fighter getting knocked down.
It's one of the best things about that run with you and Andrew, in that it's like
he's the wizard, which is a first
Andrew
for him.
is a cleric.
Or cleric. He's a cleric, which makes him weaker. I think I might be the weakest though, because I'm the 3 class, because I'm the fighter mage thief class. So which means I am exactly as it sounds. I am a what's the jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah. Like I
yeah. You can do more shit than both me and Andrew in that game. Whereas
but I'm also weaker because of the fact that I can't wear heavy armor. Like I can't wear armor actually if I want my wizard spells. My mage spells, I should say, because it's 2nd edition, so mage. Wizard isn't really a thing yet. But yeah, and then he's a cleric. He's a Tempest cleric, I think.
I think he's a cleric of Tyr.
Oh, I thought he was a cleric of Tempest, or Tempest.
It's either Tyr or Helm.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, and so we thought he would die, especially because he's never played a cleric before, so he's learning. And it's even harder because it's 2nd edition. Because 2nd edition is a pain in the ass to teach people.
Nope.
It really is, though. Specifically
he was not the first to die.
Nope. It was you to the bear.
Yep. Apparently,
Bears hate you.
I don't know what it is with me in tabletop games and accidentally, like, walking by wildlife. And it just being like, hey, you.
In particular. You and...
Fuck you. Like, what did I do?
But yeah, so yeah, that was the, yeah. I really want, because it's 6 players. It's 6, which is more than, well, with Baldur's Gate 3 you can do mods now, so it can be up to 16. But without mods, it's more than base Baldur's Gate 3. So, and all 6 of you get to play, and it's great. And it's hard, but it's fun. But it could also be easy, because I could do story mode, and then we just breeze through it. But we like the challenge.
We like to play on the expected difficulty.
Which is core rules, which is if you die, you got to go to a church and pay for resurrection. And it's expensive. But not as expensive as Icewind Dale, because somehow they had a deflation period. Actually, no, I remember what it was. I remember how I misunderstood that. Because Icewind Dale, I was buying true resurrections.
Oh. Well, shit, yeah, that's a little more expensive.
Except it's not in D&D 5e. It's the same price.
No, there's resurrection and there's true resurrection. They're different level.
They're different level spells, but they're the same price.
Really?
They both only cost, like, for the item that they need, a diamond worth 1,000 gold.
Huh.
I had to look that up specifically for the Ravenloft game, so yes.
Oh, yeah.
They both cost the same.
Because if you're going to use Revivify, you need to basically keep the body on the ice.
Yeah, no, Revivify it has to be within the first minute.
There's a spell that you can use to where it's like...
Resurrection, it has to be within...
Like a week?
No, I think it says it's like a century. You can get them,
Shit.
and then I think True Resurrection says 5 centuries. Like you can get away with holding off.
Shit.
Yeah. Obviously, for Ravenloft, I said they had a day to get them, no matter what type of spell they used, because how Ravenloft works.
Because of how Ravenloft works, which caused a property dispute. Go watch it; it's a fun thing.
But anyways, let's get back to the news. Yeah. So that was video game stuff. We talked about Jedi. So that I think that's great that we're getting more. It makes sense that it's the third game and that it's going to wrap up. Mm-hmm. I don't think that will be the last we ever see of Cal as a whole, but that's it for his Jedi, like the video game story that they want to tell. Going into High Republic news, we got
close to the end.
Yeah, we're coming close to the end. Next year, it's wrapping up for Phase 3, which is probably the end of the initiative. Really, it's probably the end of Project Luminous. Yeah. Unless they decide to hit us with a surprise, we're gonna continue. I assume we're gonna get more stories in the High Republic, but I assume they're not gonna be part of the initiative, if that makes sense, right? It's not gonna be this planned multimedia thing that they've got currently. I think once this is done, that's it, and they'll move on to a different multimedia project.
Initiate Project Dying Star.
Or whatever, right? Yeah. Like, they'll start a new multimedia initiative, and the other authors can write in the High Republic still. Yeah. They'll just have to work within what we know about the High Republic. But we got some dates for the final 3 books set now. So, for Trials of the Jedi, the last of the adult novels, it is set now to release on June 17th of next year. And then we have the Into the Light, which that Trials of the Jedi will be Charles Soule. So we started with Charles Soule. We're ending with Charles Soule. In a similar manner, we're starting with Claudia Gray and ending with Claudia Gray for the young adult novels, which we're getting Into the Light, which will be April 1st of next year.
Sorry.
And then
I was just thinking about how great of a prank it would be to, like, make a book with a single fucking page on it that's just like, we're done.
And then for the junior novels, similarly, it seems this is the pattern. We started with Justina Ireland. We're ending with Justina Ireland with A Valiant Vow. And that is on May 6th. So, and that'll be the same day as Justina Ireland's other High Republic era set book, The Acolyte Wayseeker, which is not part of the initiative, but is in the High Republic era. Which kind of goes to what I was saying, that they'll probably still write books in that era, just not part of this initiative. So the final book is June 17th. That'll be the end of it all. And that'll be ending with Charles Soule. I am excited, but also sad. Like, it's a happy, sad moment.
Yeah, so far it has been a journey, and for us it's not going to be over for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, when it does come.
Because we got a little less than a year before it ends, but it's still going to be like, oh. It's a happy, sad moment. We're happy that we're concluding this epic tale, but also sad because it's ending.
In other news.
Yeah, going into comic book news. So Star Wars Hyperspace Stories is no longer like an ongoing series, right? So they now said that they're going to do they're going to do miniseries essentially, right? The next one they've announced, because the first one was the Qui-Gon one that they announced. Mm-hmm. Next one they've announced is Bad Batch Ghost Agents, which will star the Bad Batch.
Yep.
So Dark. Who could have guessed? So Dark Horse has come out. They gave an exclusive story to Star Wars Newsnet about it. Here's what they have to say for the description of the premise. The clones of the Bad Batch have been through some intense missions throughout the Clone Wars, and it's said they have a 100% success rate, but this time they may have met their match. In Star Wars hyperspace stories, the Bad Batch ghost agents, they are on a mission to hunt down the mysterious separatist ghost agent who executed a daring heist on Coruscant. The thief's trail leads Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshair, and Tech to the seediest corners of the galaxy, a place where kingpins and thugs threaten the clones' missions and their lives. And so they talked a little bit with the author for it, Michael Moriarty, who said that I think everyone who knows my Star Wars work knows I love the Clone Wars, and the Bad Batch is probably my favorite part of that. They're just so cool and unique. They're like 1980s action heroes dropped into the Star Wars universe, and I love that. I'm after that look and feel. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm just thrilled to bring more Bad Batch stories to life. And so this will be a 5-issue miniseries. The first issue is set for January of next year, January 15th. So, whereas I think the Qui-Gon one comes out in February currently. So it's weird. That one's gotten pushed and pushed and pushed. So it's weird that the Qui-Gon one's coming out second. But
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but that'll be interesting to read. I mean, the downside is it's more Clone Wars era stuff, but it's also characters we didn't see a lot during the Clone Wars. So I think I'm willing to make an exception to
you get a pass.
Yeah, you get a pass because we don't see it's not like an Anakin or Rex or Ahsoka story where we.
I know you were eating Cheerios at Thursday, 2005 at 4 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into what we are calling comic book catch up for our.
Yep.
So the two that we did finish reading, Jango Fett and Darth Maul, Black, White, and Red. What do you want to start with?
I would do them chronologically, but I don't fucking know when.
I think either.
I figure Maul would have to happen.
Hold on, I actually do have a list of the order. So hold on. Yes, Maul happens first.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with that.
Because also the Jango Fett one hints at a lot of things that it really it's almost like a direct prequel to Episode 1 because of some stuff that's referenced in it, whereas Darth Maul is a little bit further back.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to talk about the Darth Maul one? I thought it was interesting that it's different than the Vader one, because this is part of that Black, White, and Red thing that Marvel does. So, for their mainline Marvel stuff, it's usually called Black, White, and Blood. But because it's Star Wars, they wanted to kind of not do the blood thing, even though they're still pretty dark.
There's no blood in Star Wars. What are you talking about?
But also, they're still pretty dark as comics go.
Yeah.
And so, but I think it's interesting that where the Vader one had multiple stories per issue.
Yep.
This one kind of kept to just telling one story per issue, which I think actually made them stronger. I think this is actually stronger than the Vader one.
I know there were 4 stories in that one that I read, but I can't for the life of me remember what the second one was about.
So give me the ones you know.
Okay. So there's the one where there's like a weird thing that even Maul was like, "No, man. Fuck that."
Oh, the prison?
The prison is one.
With the cult that that like also hate the Sith and want to get rid of them, and so Palpatine's like, "Hey, can you deal with these guys? Because we imprison them, but like this isn't enough."
Yeah.
That was the first one.
That's the first one. The next one is like the tower defense against Maul.
Yeah, which is from like the perspective of these mercenaries that are like survival.
And then there's the one where Maul just wants everything to be quiet.
Yeah, which is the last one. The third one is now I'm blanking and I read it today. It's the one where he's after the guy who tries to blackmail Palpatine like an idiot.
Yep.
It's the Devronian who's like, I saw Masameda working with some pirates, and then Masameda, which he didn't know who Masameda was, but he described Masameda, and he's like, I saw
blue guy.
This blue
with horns.
Chagrian, yeah. He's like, I saw this Chagrian, and then he met up with the noble Senator Sheev Palpatine.
Yep.
Which is, I think, only really the second piece of canon media to really properly address the Sheev in the room. Because not a lot of things have said... Because Sheev is a new canon thing of actually giving us a name for him beyond just Palpatine. Like, this canon gave us his first name, which is Sheev. And it was in the Tarkin novel, which we haven't gotten to yet.
As opposed to his old name, which I guess was Palpatine.
It was just Palpatine. It was just Emperor Palpatine. Chancellor Palpatine. That's his name.
Which means that no one knew his first name for forever.
I don't think a lot of things have said Sheev
Yeah.
in them. So it's kind of funny hearing people call him Sheev in other things now. And so, yeah, so for this, I'd say my favorite. I think I kind of enjoyed the ones that were kind of funny in the premise.
Yeah.
Like, I think 3 and 4 have the funniest premises. 1 and 2 definitely go into, like, what it means to be a Sith.
Yeah, I like 1 because that's stuff that I like.
It's very almost eldritch horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do like 4 because it's just very funny.
Yeah. And so, like, 3 I thought was funny in premise, too, because it's like, yeah, this guy has no idea.
He doesn't know. He just thinks...
Because at first I thought, because they were like, oh, I figured he was blackmailing Palpatine. I figured that out pretty quick when they were talking about, once he started talking to his buddies going, yeah, I blackmailed the senator and they're going to give me a plea bargain because he's a criminal. And so he blackmailed a senator to get a plea bargain.
My first thought was, who did you fucking blackmail that you
I
thought
immediately,
this would work out
I
for
immediately clocked it was Palpatine. But then I immediately thought that I got what he blackmailed him as wrong. I thought the information was that he figured out he was a Sith somehow, which would have made it even dumber that he made the choice to blackmail him. But also, it was still kind of a dumb plan, because he did the thing that you don't do if you're blackmailing people. You don't directly tell the blackmailee that you are blackmailing them. You go, and if you do, you make sure that you're not the only one with that information in case, say, you die. You give it to somebody else who is so unaffiliated with the situation that they will live if you die.
Yep.
So definitely don't tell any of his friends on that planet, because they all died.
Yep, they're dead. Maul got them.
Like, you definitely, like, if you we here at Escape Reality Films aren't condoning blackmail, but if you're gonna do it, you definitely don't, like, tell the person.
What is this world where we have to make these statements?
It's one where, just in case.
Yeah. Don't blackmail people.
Yeah, but if you're going to, you don't directly tell them, right? You go, you either give an anonymous message, although I guess him wanting a pardon would not work in this case.
The problem is he wants a pardon.
And even if he goes, pardon my friend, name, then it's just like, well, I'm going to assume it's the guy that you told me to pardon. I'm going to assume that's who has this information.
Yeah. So it doesn't work.
It's like when you go, whenever you go to somebody for advice and you're like, my friend.
Hey, so I've got this
friend. It's like, you mean you? No, my friend.
Like,
from Canada.
My friend from Canada?
It's like my Canadian girlfriend, right? Like, it's the...
Or in my case, my Canadian cousin, despite having no relation to that girl at all.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's yeah. And so, I think the situation is funny in a dark, ironic way, where it's just like, man, you threatened the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And honestly, it could have worked once again if he'd done it, like if he had made sure to like give the information to somebody else, because then the information would go out if he died, because you're not gonna get that pardon. But hey, the blackmail works then, at least. Or you could at least go, to ensure you don't die, you could go, hey, I told somebody and I'm not going to tell you who.
Now, the tower defense, I think...
Tower defense was an interesting one.
It's an interesting one because it's not Maul's perspective on the matter,
Mm-hmm.
which are what the other three are. It's, here's how fucking scary it is to deal with Maul.
Yeah, it's kind of what I expecting, honestly, all of them to be. Because the Vader one was kind of that way, where most of them were not Vader's perspective. In fact, I don't think any of them were Vader's perspective.
I think there was like one or two when he was
yeah.
having like an argument with...
And so, like, I was expecting more of them to not be Maul's perspective. And but I actually like that situation.
Yeah.
The reason I like 2, though, is because it's not Maul's perspective, because it goes to continue the idea of showing, like, the Sith from somebody who doesn't understand what they are's perspective.
And Jesus Christ, do the remainders, which is what the name of the people on this fucking awful snow planet,
or at least like the leaders are called, because they're basically like the leaders of this community, and because they've kind of just taken up leadership.
Yeah, because everyone that goes there is like, we're a bunch of former mercenaries who have nothing better to do with our lives anymore.
Or we have kids now, because like one of the kids of a former mercenary survives.
Yeah, it's not like in on their little planet. It's like, what are we gonna do? Move away? There's like 100 of us here tops, so.
And it's like a mining planet, and so
that's not mining.
I thought it was a mining one.
It is, but it's not being used anymore.
Yeah.
Damn near a ghost town to begin with.
Yeah, and so I brought up though that it's a mining planet specifically because that's why Maul thinks it's important, because Sidious goes, "Hey, take over this mining operation," essentially, and Maul does it, and he's like, "All right, so why was this important? What they got? Beskar? Like what are they working with?" And he's like, "Oh, this was a test. It's not important. I just needed to prove that you could do this."
And man, it was a test. If Maul was not who he was,
because like the remainders were kind of smart. Like
they were smart. They pulled every trick they fucking could on him.
But unfortunately, that's no match for the power of the Sith.
Yeah. On the other hand, evil space magic.
Yeah. Smart brains and useful technology versus evil space magic.
Evil space magic won this time.
Evil space magic being fueled by a raging, angry Dathomirian.
Demon guy.
Yeah. And then I like 4 just because it's also funny.
Yeah, I came here because my master told me to go and take a vacation, essentially.
Well, because Sidious claims it's to teach him to be patient and slow down. So he's like, I want you to go meditate and get some quiet. And then I'll come to you eventually, and it should be quiet. You should still be meditating when I get to you, essentially.
Yeah.
He gets there, and it's the every time something, that's always something, every day, literally.
Yep.
It's almost like an isekai thing where you show up into the town, and you go there, and you start, you're like, I'm not going to interact with any of these people. And then you slowly start to interact with them because more and more things happen every day that you're there.
Like, his first interaction with the little hotel owner is like, she's like, hey, I got a room, get you 2 meals a day, you pay me, and I'll leave you be.
Honestly, and it was pretty good, too.
I'm
2
like,
credits?
I'm like, it was like a reasonable amount of credits.
It was like 2 credits.
I'm like,
that's cheap.
Fuck me, I'd take that deal, too.
2 credits a day for a bed with two meals, breakfast and dinner?
Yeah, breakfast and dinner. I'm like, that's a good deal. And Maul goes, that's a good deal too, and he takes it.
And she's like, anything else? He's like, some quiet. And she's like, I got you. The only person Maul actively doesn't get frustrated with, because she knows, she's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna back off now.
He goes like to the temple ruins.
Yeah, because it's like an ancient Sith ruins.
And he's like, now I'm gonna stay here and meditate.
The mayor, on the other hand, is trying to turn the town into like a resort town.
Yeah.
And he's like hassling the hotel lady because he's like, you haven't made your taxes yet.
And
it's really
like, I've already paid.
Where I get the vibe it's more of a protection racket.
Yeah.
And she's like, I ain't paying you because I was here before you were. And he's like, well, I'm just going to destroy your building then. And she's like, fine. And he's like, you left some out. And she's like, I'll get it to you. And then Maul's like, no, I can't have any of this. He's too loud. Because I think they try to do the noise stuff to make her go, like, while she's sleeping, to make her go crazy. But it makes Maul pissed off instead. Yeah. So Maul just kidnaps and kills the mayor.
Yeah. And it's like, finally, peace and quiet.
And then feeds him to some creatures in the ruins.
Yeah.
Which tends to be how he hides the bodies this issue. Because he also does that with the party goers who show up the next day.
Show up the next day, and it's like, I'm going to have a great time for my bachelor party?
That's what I got the vibes of, was it was a bachelor party.
I'm like, he's going to marry that girl. I think.
Yeah, and they mentioned, like, and so he's like a big game hunter, and so they're like, we're going into the ruins to go hunting, and Maul's like, oh, perfect, I know how to get rid of you.
No one will ever know.
And so he kills them there.
Yeah.
And then the dad, who's a pirate, shows up.
He's like a pirate king in this sector. Is like, where the fuck is my son?
Yeah, and the droids that were still alive, that worked for the mayor, were like, we don't know, he disappeared, and they're like, poof, poof,
and
dead
then I think
from Pirate King.
One of his own men gets mouthy and he kills him too.
Yeah.
And Maul's like, well, I can't have gunshots in my meditation.
Well, yeah. And on top of that, was it him that, or what? No, it was another guy who shows up the next day. Yeah. Right?
Next day, I think.
Yeah, next day, like a general shows up. And is like, no, it is the Pirate King, because he has the tanks.
Oh, yeah.
So it is the Pirate King. So the Pirate King starts firing tanks at everybody because he just thinks everybody's in on his son being missing. Yeah. And so he even fires at the hotel lady. And Maul's like, that's it.
Fuck this. I've tried for 3 days in a row.
So he kills the Pirate King, and everybody's dead by the end of it. And Sidious shows up, and he's like, good, it's quiet.
But Cena's like, well, I'm not sure you nailed the patience part, but damn, did you make it quiet now?
But what's funny is he doesn't even bring up the patience lesson. He's like, good, you succeeded. Meanwhile, me as the reader, I'm like, no, he didn't. He's not patient at all. You don't know what he had to do to get this quiet. Anyways, but that's Darth Maul, Black, White, and Red. I think it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
I think it's really good. I think it's, like I said, I think it's an improvement of the Vader Black, White, and Red. I like the Vader Black, White, and Red because we got some cool stuff out of it, especially like the silent one, the no dialogue one. Yeah. That one was good.
I'll say this: it's interesting to see Maul's internal monologue throughout this.
I keep reading it in Sam Witwer's voice, though, like Maul from Clone Wars, so I'm reading it in that specific voice when I'm in my mind.
I realized that Maul questioned a lot of things. And I'm like, oh, this makes sense considering where things go.
Yeah, like, it makes sense. I mean, and he always has been questioning things. Every time we get a piece of Maul media, he's always like, I'm questioning my master, but I'm also careful when to question him out loud. Because, like,
it's like, I can question him in my head all the time. I just don't need to verbalize.
Because the same thing with the other Darth Maul comic we read for last season. I mean, that when he goes to hunt a Jedi, I mean, that he was questioning it all then, too.
Yeah. I'm like, all you have to do, Maul, is when the time is right. Like, for example, when he's sleeping, is stab him, and you would have had your shit.
I think, though, Maul also knows that he doesn't know everything yet, which is also why he hasn't made that move. I think that's why he never got around to it, is because he realized, I still have a lot to learn from this guy, whether I agree with everything he's doing or not, to get the Sith to get their revenge. Because that's the thing, Maul does want the Sith to have their revenge. He just wants it at a faster pace than what Palpatine's going at. So it's really a difference of ideology within the it's like when you're like
okay.
I always bring up the Catholicism when I'm talking about the Sith for some reason.
I feel like you could do a video essay on if the Sith are Catholic or not at this point.
Would that make Maul the Lutheranism?
know, man.
Because he's like the Martin Luther going against the Catholicism and starting his own church.
He's gonna nail fucking the 12 precepts to the Senate door. Although I guess it wouldn't be the Senate, it'd just be Palpatine's door.
He would just put it on Palpatine's office.
It's like an eviction notice.
Masamita comes to check and he's like, what the fuck?
Master, I think that your plan is stupid and bullshit. Here's why.
The Clone Wars should have started so much sooner.
Jesus Christ, can we please just get to the part where we start killing Jedi?
Why did we... Also, this... I know about Order 66. I was there when you came up with the plan.
Yeah, why...
Why are we waiting?
Why are we waiting? We can get them now.
The war
Just pay the Separatists. They'll do it anyway. Just pay the banking clan. They'll enjoy it.
Look, look how easy it was to create an army. I have all the cartels working for me.
See? We can just get them now. We can just get them now. But Sam Witwer's voice would be very funny.
So yeah, I you know what? Yeah. So Darth Maul is the Lutheranism of the Sith Catholicism.
Okay, sure.
It makes sense to me, especially by the time we get to by the time we get to Clone Wars, when he actually is trying to start his own Sith.
Yep.
He's like, I'm just going to have my own rule of two.
Yep.
I was about to make a Futurama reference with blackjack and hookers. But yeah,
I imagine he probably wouldn't have. Well, no, he still would have done that, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we just know he doesn't succeed at it because he doesn't know he doesn't have and he knows he doesn't have the knowledge. That's the kind of the sad part about it, right? Is he knows he can't succeed, but he's still trying. It's actually Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sam Witwer talking about this. Darth Maul is Sisyphus.
Mm.
He's always trying to get that boulder uphill.
It's not gonna go.
Well, he gets it there and then it drops immediately and flattens him in the process. Because he's not as strong as Sisyphus, so it flattens him. And then he has to go back down and start all over again. And so, yeah, Maul is Sisyphus. So that's why he can't succeed. But anyways, Jango Fett. Or did you have one more thing?
I have one more thing about Maul.
Okay.
It's one of those things. Maul, terrifying guy that just shows up, kills you, and leaves, is a very different instrument of Palpatine's, if that makes sense, when compared to like the other ones.
Yeah, Maul is a butcher's knife.
Yeah. You send Maul to a place, everyone has to die.
Whereas I'd say Dooku is kind of like if we're gonna keep the knife,
is like
he's a doctor's scalpel. If we're keeping the knife metaphor, he's more precise. You're aiming at certain targets, and you're gonna make fine cuts that are gonna be slow, but are going to do damage over time if you keep doing them.
Mm-hmm.
Vader's kind of in between.
Yeah.
He can be a butcher's knife one moment, but precise the next. Grievous isn't a Sith, so
he doesn't count.
He doesn't count. And Ventress is technically not a Sith either, so she doesn't count.
Grievous is a mallet.
Yeah. You smash it with a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's it for my thoughts on the Maul comic.
Jango Fett.
Jango Fett. This was a fun one.
Yeah, this was fun.
We don't see a lot of Jango Fett.
No, and especially not Jango Fett just doing his bounty hunting stuff, like just being a bounty hunter. And working for the Republic in this case, which was interesting, considering what he becomes known for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, working for the Separatists and being the sample DNA for the Republic Army before they turn on the Jedi.
Yep.
But it also sets up a lot of things. So the premise is Jango is having to find the statue that was stolen because it was a peace treaty offering for the planet of Lee Ansum between the Anselmi and the Nautilans.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of backstabbing and bounty hunting that you would assume happens. We get Aura Singh in here, which kind of establishes more of the kind of relationship her and Jango have, because we know that she claims to have known Jango in some way in Clone Wars when she's takes in Boba.
Yeah.
So this kind of establishes more of that information and like how she knows Jango, and it seems to be a friendly rivalry for the most part, where they're like, yeah, we'll almost fight each other to the death, but meh.
Yeah, professional courtesy. And
Professional courtesy, but also because Bounty Hunters Guild, generally you can't kill other guild members unless there's an actual bounty.
An actual bounty on them.
Which Jango gets.
Yep.
As does Aura during this. Because they get framed.
Yep.
We also get to see Craddock in this, which is, I believe he's Bosk's dad.
Oh, Kratos. Okay, I was about to say, I'm like, why are you... Who are you? Why are you so mad?
Because I think he's Let me double check that statement, but I believe that he is Bosk's dad. Is what I want to say. Or at least... Related. I think there's a relation there. Because I know I've heard Craddock before. Kradosk, not Craddock.
And father of Bosk.
Yeah, father. So Kradosk is Bosk's father. So we get Kradosk. And Kradosk, I was excited to see, because I was like, I know this name. I've seen, and so it's like, oh, this, like, I immediately realized it was Bosk's father. And so that explains the sort of rivalry between Jango and Kradosk, and then Bosk, and my dad can beat up your dad, yeah.
No, he didn't. Do you not remember how that worked out? My dad blew yours up.
My dad can beat up your dad.
Yeah. Bosk is like, Boba's like, I don't care. I do like how the Fets are very much like, business is business. Nothing else.
Yeah, like, they don't take things too personally when it comes to being a bounty hunter. They're like, there's nothing personal going on.
This is a job.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Although Jango and Boba, but Jango specifically has he has a code.
Yeah.
Like, he has an honor system that he follows, which is more than other bounty hunters in the profession can say, especially Aura. But yeah, and so I respect Jango, while obviously he picks the wrong side during
admittedly
some things. I do respect him.
On the other hand, though, if we're gonna think about this in a weird way, he is responsible as the parent, and I use that in air quotes,
of the clones.
Yeah, he is the clone. While
he's the clone dad.
Boba. Yeah.
He's the clone father.
He's responsible for Rex Cody.
Yeah, they're a little bit further down the because I think he actually did. So I don't know if in canon it remains that way, but in Legends, he personally trained the first generation of clones. So I don't know if that's true in canon. If anybody in the comments who's watching wants to clarify that. I believe in canon he does as well, but in Legends I know 100% that he does train the first generation.
Yeah.
Which Rex would not have been. I think he's second gen.
I'm not sure where Cody is in that.
Yeah. I think we know for sure that I think we confirmed, we've talked about this, Rex is second gen, because he talks about how he was not at the Battle of Geonosis, which means he's not first gen, because every clone was at the first Battle of Geonosis for the first gen.
Admittedly, he does follow Jango. Rex does follow Jango's two blaster style.
Yeah.
They use different models, but the concept.
And of course, we know that Jango did have a hand in shaping Boba, and Boba does develop an honor system similar to his father. He doesn't have it at first when he starts doing his bounty hunting, but over time he does develop it in a similar code, and it kind of fucks him over in Book of Boba Fett, but also
because he wants to do things the honorable way.
Yeah, like, I respect you for trying, Boba, but now is not the time. There's a power vacuum going on here. You got to prove you're the strongest during this moment. But yeah, so Jango, I like getting to see more Jango.
Yeah.
It's something we have a lot of in Legends, but we don't in canon. So getting more canon Jango is nice.
Yeah.
And
it's just a simple man trying to make his way in the galaxy.
It's also really close to the events of Episode 1.
Yeah.
Because the first issue starts with like a news segment where they're like talking about the Trade Federation stuff going on how they're about to essentially start blockading Naboo, and how like about Chancellor Valorum's taxation policies.
Can't take another scandal.
Yep. And how this whole the Gliansum thing, if it doesn't go through correctly, then
back to war on Gliansum,
which is what happens. And that's kind of what Palpatine wants.
Yep.
Because Palpatine shows up, because of course Palpatine's in the background manipulating things. But so does Dooku. Dooku shows up as well, as he was manipulating this as well as part of the master plan for Palpatine. And so, oh wait, no, Palpatine doesn't show up, just Dooku. But Dooku is acting in Palpatine's place.
Yep.
So, and the plan essentially is get Gliansum to go back to war. So that way, the galaxy's already kind of breaking.
Yep.
Before the Clone Wars even breaks out. And you could argue that the Battle of Naboo is the first real battle of the Clone Wars, even though there's no clones yet. But you can make that argument.
I'd say that it's definitely, if not considered one, it's definitely considered an inciting incident.
And now we can say even this Gliansum business might be
another one.
Yeah, another inciting incident. Where if this wasn't going on and the Trade Federation blockade on Naboo doesn't happen, then maybe the Clone Wars doesn't happen to the same degree, right?
Yeah.
And so, and Valorum, of course, especially does not get kicked out of his Supreme Chancellor status if these things go correctly.
Yeah.
But of course they don't. So
they do not.
And Jango going to his professionalism is like he just wants to get his reward. And also we get Nakano Lash.
Yeah.
We get the introduction of her.
She is hired as the thief to steal
the jewel.
Yeah. The rest of her crew died.
Yeah, their suits got blown up because they had explosives put in them. Mm-hmm. Hers did not go off correctly.
And I'm like, if the plan was to steal it, why didn't you wait to bomb them later?
Well, she didn't.
No, I mean the guy who was betraying them, because they blow up in that same room.
Yeah.
Like, mid stealing that shit.
Yeah. I think he was hoping that it would blow up the statue as well.
Maybe?
Wait, because it was already a fake one.
Yeah.
Because by that point he had already swapped out, so the bad guy is actually the Nautolan representative for this.
Because he's a jerk.
Because I think he wanted the war to keep going, or he said that somebody else hired him and started talking about that when he was getting arrested, which we knew who that was, because there's a panel that basically reveals that who's actually behind it, because they get off a phone call talking about how they haven't had the statue yet, and she's like, she at first hangs up, does a and then immediately next panel is like, hey.
Yep.
And so it's just like, oh, you're the mastermind behind this.
We know it's you.
But it turns out it's actually Dooku that's which means Palpatine's the true mastermind behind this. But yeah, so that's why nobody listens, because she's the one who's arresting him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, because he had stolen the real one already.
Yeah.
And swapped it with the fake one. So I think the plan was maybe the fake one gets blown up in the process of this, which would then definitely start the war between the Anselmi and the Nolans.
Yep. Admittedly, how Jango catches the thief is a great fucking plan. I'm like, I'll have to remember that for some Sips type shit in the future.
Oh, going into a bar full of people that are wanted, and going, hey, I'm after whoever did such and such, and then waiting to see who runs away.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck you, that was smart.
Because
I'm like,
at
all
this
you
point he
have to-
doesn't know who it is.
Yeah. I'm like, all you have to do is not run. And what does Nakano do? She gets up and she runs. And I'm like, yep, that's it. It's you.
Yeah, and so I like that too. It was
because it's one of those instances where it shows, oh, Jango's more than just a gun.
I also liked Aura's little B plot going on of like, I want to shoot him, and then her guard that's supposedly from the prison going, nah, you can't. We need to keep an eye on him, and so he'll lead us to it. And then turning out that guard is probably working for the people that that wanted this theft to happen to begin with, and then finding out, yeah, that's exactly who he was working for. And Aura figured it out pretty easily with catching him in a lie by going, hey, did you call the people, your people that are on such and such planet? And he was like, yeah, of course I did. And she's like, oh, they don't operate there. Boom.
Yep. Another good moment is one of the antagonists for this little comic run is Vigor Struck. I'm like,
oh yeah, the cyborg guy, yeah.
I like this cyborg old man where some Gamorreans decide to be an asshole to him and just knock over his drink like fully on purpose, and they're like, what you gonna do about it? He's like, they're like, are you
am I wrong in feeling like it would be a Seth character?
You were goddamn right, it would be. It's like, I'm not gonna be mad in the bar. I'm gonna come back here and drink. I'm gonna kill you in the alley outside for this.
And steal your awesome weapon.
Yeah.
Because then I can use that later.
Look, I don't know why I do that in games. It's a thing that I do.
I did like his character. At first I was like, is this basically the guy from the Mace Windu comics? But also, we got to enjoy this guy a little longer.
Yeah.
And so, I hope we get to see more of him in other things. I know how things go in this comic form, but we can see more of him.
Yeah, he's a cyborg. I don't know how extensive those cybernetics are, but
yeah,
we'll see.
So I give this a strong 8.
Yeah,
it's a good miniseries. I want more Jango Fett stuff. Give us more Jango comics.
Because it's fun to see how bounty hunters operate in this period of time in the galaxy.
Yeah, like it. We don't have to be this close to because at the end of it, like, you know, he basically gets the Nautolan guy, and they get proof via like the news people, and they're like, hey, we can prove that it's this guy. So then they bring it up to the governor, who is doing the peace treaty for Chancellor Valorum, who turns out she wanted it to fail because she was working for Dooku. But she arrests the Nautolan, and then she's like, all right, I'll give you payment for it. And Jango's like, cool. And I forget what the lines of dialogue to get to it are, but it's basically goes along the lines of Jango basically puts cards on the table and goes, I know that it was you, wink wink.
I know it was you.
But
technically, this guy's responsible, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, because you're paying me, so.
Because I was told to bring in the thief, and this guy did steal it.
Yep, and so I brought the thief in. You're paying me for it. So our business is concluded here, as far as I'm concerned. Yep. And then, so he leaves, and she calls and Dooku calls her, and they talk about it, and she's like, yeah, he knows, and he's like, and he's not saying anything. He could be useful later.
Competent and discreet. Thank God.
So, yeah, so that's I think the setup for Dooku going, this is the guy I want for the clone template.
Mm-hmm. There are two other there's some very amusing moments in this as well.
I feel bad for Valorum.
Yeah. Because shit's hard for him.
Also, and
also Sheev is actively trying.
Yeah,
to make
Sheev is actively manipulating these events. So it'd be one thing if Valorum was failing because he was just incompetent, right? But no, he's pretty competent. It's just everybody underneath him is working to undermine him because they're actually working for Sheev.
Yep. all the time. Do you remember the fucking, like, Await the Dawn shit we were going through with Kira about how many people are in Crimson Dawn?
This is that.
This is that, again, but specifically for Valorum's, like, cabinet. Yeah. Naboo has nice water this year, or some shit in the hallway.
Anyways, your two things you wanted to bring up before
First off, they shoot Jango's robot friend, and he's very upset about that.
Oh, his contact.
Yeah, and he's like, his contact is like, he's very much like, okay, I got the initial starting bounty to set up.
Also, I'm sorry, I already told like all my other favorite people too.
And Jango's like, oh yeah, that's fucking, all right, cool, I get it. And he gets shot, and Jango's like, well, oh yeah, easy job, huh?
Also,
Easy job, my ass.
I don't know, it seemed easy to me how easily he took those guys out that were pilfering his ship.
It's like, why did you think? Do you not know who you're robbing right now?
He's like, keep your hands off my goddamn ship. Anyways, number two.
Number two is at the end when he's like, hey, Aura, do you want to go into business to get... And she's gone.
To be fair, it was so she could steal the jewels that were on the real statue.
Yep.
They find the rest of the statue and they're like, we found most of the statue except for the jewels. And or meanwhile in the foreground hiding behind a building going, I've got him.
I've got him. I could pay bail with this.
So to be fair, she wanted some payday for this. Also, probably didn't want to go back to jail.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, Jango probably would have happily turned her in again.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so that's it for Jango Fett. You want to get into the main topic?
Yeah, I suppose so.
All right, so the main topic for today is the Lego Star Wars special, rebuilding the galaxy.
I did not expect like an existential question when I watched this.
Oh, about loneliness?
Yeah. Congratulations.
And also being able to handle change.
Yeah. Congratulations, idiot. Hey, you know your brother and all the friends that you had over there? Yeah, those versions fucking gone, and it's your fault.
What an interesting metaphor for Star Wars as a whole, though. So I'm stealing this from one of our friends, Darth Chaco.
Mm-hmm.
And because he had talked.
Is he doing okay?
Yeah. So we talked recently before he posted a video, and I'm gonna steal from that video a little bit about this because I agree. It's a interesting metaphor for how Star Wars is always changing and evolving, and how each era of Star Wars kind of just changes a little bit of what you know about Star Wars, and that you kind of just need to be willing to embrace the new and the old, because that's kind of what the main character for this goes through.
Yeah.
As well as Jedi Bob. Jedi Bob also goes through this because of the big plot twist of what we find out, that at least in the Lego Star Wars version, that the Star Wars that we know is not the first version of the Star Wars universe.
I was thinking about this, and I'm like, this must have been really fun for you. And while it's fun for me, it's not quite the same. Because I'm like, I don't know as much. I'll admit that. You know a lot, so you know probably a lot. There's a lot more fun things to catch.
As far as like the I mean, obviously with the multiverse stuff and the changing timelines, not a lot that I like. The Jedi Bob stuff is new, but it also isn't to a degree because it's like, oh, it's a universe back when they were all still yellow Lego pieces, right? Which makes sense because originally for a long time, for Lego Star Wars figures, they used the yellow pieces like every other Lego piece back then, right? Before they started doing like full body colors, right? But eventually they made the swap to where like it was after Lando. They were like, oh, we had to make him a black person. So I guess we should probably do that for all the Legos, where we just have them be whatever they're supposed to look like, instead of just yellow. And so that was kind of the transition of that. But I think it's interesting that, Jedi Bob is from a different timeline.
Yeah.
And then I liked the changes for the timeline. I don't think there was anything that was too deep of a cut.
Yeah.
I think it's very much, if you've watched the movies and the shows,
You get it.
you get it. Like, the only deep cut would probably be like Darth Nubs, which I love Darth Nubs.
Darth Nubs. Oh no.
But yeah, because like,
Oh great, there could be more than one Sith.
but like the concept of change, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very important, especially right now. This kind of came out at the right time, considering how frustrated people are right now with the grifters of Star Wars community and the toxic side, right?
Mm.
And how they just don't like change most of the time, right? And they're always arguing, saying this is what was canon, but then of course it's like, well, no, that was Legends. And so like, this is kind of almost an argument against that type of behavior, where it's going, no, that type of behavior is bad. You need to move on, move forward. And I think, and you can still love and miss and appreciate the things in the past, right? Because that's totally not the message isn't just move on and forget what you loved, right? No, it's, you can still love that stuff, but you also can now appreciate the changes, right? Because he tries to appeal to his brother Dev so many times in this, or Darth Dev, as he's now, Darth Devastator. Which I honestly, that's a pretty cool way to do the name change, I thought. Where he was like, well, my name was Dev, so what if my Sith name was Devastator? That's actually pretty smart. And so, but yeah, like, he appeals to his brother, because while he may not be his brother in this timeline, he was in the last timeline, and he sees that there is something missing with Darth Dev, and it's just, he's lonely. The man is lonely despite being surrounded by people. Because he's got Darth Ray, he's got Darth Rose Tico, he's got, which Darth Rose Tico is also a fun idea. But then you got, Darth, you got the whole Darths, right? Because now the rule of two doesn't exist in this version, right? So you got Darth Jar Jar, and which initially, like in the trailers, you think Darth Jar Jar is the leader. No, it's Darth Devastator. Actually, Darth Devastator's. I also like the Jedi Council in this, with the Jawa the Jawa crawler on AT legs being where the Jedi are hiding. And I liked Palpatine being a Jedi in this council, along with you see Dooku as a member. I don't think he speaks up during this, but you do see him. Vader, obviously.
Jabba's there.
Jabba. It's very blink and you miss it for the Jedi Council, because you kind of have to, because like some of them you'll see and you'll be like, which one? Who's that one? And then of course you got Darth Kit Fisto on the dark side now. I like Surfer Luke. I like beach dad Luke. Beach bum Luke. Which has the little necklace, the Anakin necklace. I also like the. There's just so much to like in this. There's more to like than to dislike. I think there isn't anything I dislike in this, other than I want more.
For me, I'm like, okay, that's enough. I get the point.
Yeah, but I could see like this being a kid like.
I can see potential to do it that way, but
you would have to be careful. Like, I wouldn't make it a yearly thing. Maybe I would like make this a mini series thing that's every now and then, continuing to see what's going on in the new version of this universe, right? Because I would like to see where Dev and Stranger Things actor, kid, brother, the main begins with an S, right?
I want to call him Grease, but I don't
No.
think that's it.
No, that's...
Who the fuck is Grease?
Grease is Jedi. Survivor. And Fallen Order. Greasy Money. The pilot.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah. Sig.
Sig.
Yeah, Sig. I want to see where Sig and Dev's story
I know
goes.
why.
Oh,
It's because his last name is Greebling.
Greebling, yeah. I want to see where Sig and Dev go. Because I think I want to see where their journey goes for each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does seem like they want to tell more because they end the Darth Ray stuff with kind of a cliffhanger
Yeah.
sort of deal.
They've summoned the Landalorian in attack position.
The Landalorian, which Lando as the Mandalorian is great. I also like the joke of Maul being actually a good guy,
Yeah.
because he's like, this guy is awful in my timeline, and he's like dressed like Lando, and so I was like,
Yeah.
no, he probably. At first, I did think he might have betrayed them because I was like, oh, he pulled an Episode 5 Lando where he's gonna betray them and then help them, but it's like, nope, he just made the phone call to find the rebellion.
Yep.
Which also made sense.
Yeah. Also,
Who the traitor was, though, was interesting.
mhm. There's
Because there is a traitor.
Yeah, there is. There always is. When Luke being like, I'm not gonna fucking pay for it. It's my money that I won earlier today.
By cheating.
Yep.
I also like, I like the Greedo and Leia thing. It's kind of, it's kind of funny. And it actually kind of works.
In a weird way.
Yeah, in a very weird way it works. We see Yoda and Grievous working together side by side because Grievous is a good guy for the rebellion in this one. Which also implicates that rebuilding the galaxy means that you've also changed time.
Yeah.
Not just history, but time. Which is interesting because like there are characters that live now in a post Episode 9 time that weren't even that would have died millennia ago. Like Nubs should be like Darth Nubs should be dead. So I kind of like the it's interesting what the cornerstone what it can do.
Yeah. Can at the very least rebuild a galaxy.
It is as powerful as 2 Infinity Stones.
Bare minimum.
At the least, out of what we've seen. Because it is the Time Stone and Space Stone, basically, combined.
Mm-hmm.
So that is at least 2 Infinity Stones that it is as powerful
that's
as.
2 legendary Pokemon.
Actually, hold on. Let me double check here. It might be 3 stones.
Yeah.
Not Pokemon.
The Reality Stone.
Yeah, the Reality Stone. I was trying to remember if that is a thing. I thought so. I thought because it's it's time, space, power, reality, and space, reality, power, soul, mind, time. Yeah, so there's 6. So it's as powerful as 3 of them. Because it can be space, time, and reality. In one stone. That is some interesting things. Also, this ruins my viewings of how I view Legos a little bit, the Lego specials a bit. Because the way I usually tend to watch the Lego specials is knowing they are not canon, right? Because these are non-canon events. But the way I watch them is I treat them like they are canon adjacent in the terms of these are events that probably happened, but not the same, like not in the Legos format, right? So like anything that only a Lego specifically could do, I was like, that's where I draw the line of it being like how to interpret these stories. So like specifically I did that for the holiday special, the terrifying, whatever the Halloween one is called, I forget now.
Yeah.
Terrifying Tales or whatever. The Summer Vacation. Like, I viewed those as, like, semi-continuations of canon material because I'm like, oh, these are things that could happen that, like, if you take away the more Lego elements of them, you could be like, oh, this happened, and Finn, like, we can confirm that Finn is a Jedi, and we can confirm that. But, obviously, with the acknowledgement of, if I ever talk about this outside of my own headcanon, going, no, these are non-canon, that's just how I'm viewing them, right? Because I think headcanon's fine as long as when you start talking about what is truly canon, you have to have that degree of separation. But now this one ruins that because this one's like, oh yeah, no, we started a new timeline, buddy, and we're staying there. And also, this is with us knowing on a production level that we're gonna go past that in the canon timeline because we're getting the Jedi, the new Jedi movies with Rey. So, I give this also a pretty strong 8. This is, or almost 8.5 even, because I think this is just good fun.
Yeah.
This,
if you just take it for what it is, I'll give it an 8.
Yeah. If you just take it for sit down, wanting some laughs, wanting some Legos, there you go.
Yeah.
It's if you've enjoyed the other Lego specials, you'll like this one. It's what, 4 to 5 episodes?
Yeah, it's like if you've got 2 hours to kill, go ahead and watch.
It's like watching a movie.
Yeah.
A good movie, a good Lego movie.
And those are usually pretty good.
Yeah, so it's a good Lego movie, that surprisingly has a lot of heart to it. Like,
I get Sig's initial thing about like, no, I don't want to fuck with the Force because when you do that,
bad things
can happen. And Des is like, I mean, come on, man. I'm like, this is exactly why.
Yeah, but also I think Dev is correct on the initial, but also like I understand Sig's point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a case of I understand Sig's point of view, but I also think no, Dev is right. Dev is like trying to he's trying to get you to get out of your shell is really what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But now he has a new future where things are different, and he kind of has to become the hero now because now with all that great power comes great responsibility.
Mm-hmm. I can't say he doesn't want it now since he broke the old world.
Yeah. But that's it for this week. Next, because I think that's everything I want to talk about. Anything extra you want, or you feel pretty good about it?
I feel pretty good.
All right, well then.
I know it's not the longest episode.
Yeah. But so thank you all for watching today's episode of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I've been your host, Caleb. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe to us. You can find us at Escape Reality Films on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok. You see all the links now because of the... Yeah. You can also show your support for us by joining our Patreon, which is at Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley.
Yo.
There you can watch our YouTube content before it's publicly available. Also, be sure to check out our Discord, which is also linked on the screen, but also wherever you're watching, if you're, in this case, on YouTube, since we pre-recorded, so it's linked down below. And so that's how you can become a part of our community. You can come hang out with us, listen to our D&D games when we play them. You can also find me on Twitter at EscapeReality94 and Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Caleb.Lockwood. Speaking of D&D, though...
Yeah, every Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, you can catch some friends of ours over on YouTube at the Steam_Dungeon, playing their campaign, Trials of Naboo. I have no idea what the fuck is going on, because I haven't
had a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
That's okay. But once again, thank you all for watching today's episode. We'll see you all next week, where we're going to talk The Clone Wars, Stories of Light and Dark, which is a collection of short stories that take place during the Clone Wars.
All right.
And we'll be live again next week, so.
Yeah.
I have spoken.
Ideally.
Yeah, ideally.
Y'all be safe out there.
Bye.